Hey guys, I watched the second season of Mayfair Witches, and the story kind of started, kind of has nothing to do with Jesus and Virgin Mary and stuff like that, and then it kind of, that's first season, and then it got twisted into the story of Jesus and how he was born. Basically, the lead who played his mother, he showed that she was in love with the spirit, because this spirit was in the Mayfair family for a generation. And they said the 13 witch, she's the gateway she's the gateway to rebirthing Jesus. And that's what the story is, the twist. And basically they're trying to tell you how he was, came into the earth. So he's gone from being a spirit into a flesh, because he had a relationship with his, the spirit had a relationship with his mother. And anyhow, end up impregnating his mother and became in the flesh. You understand? So it's a little bit twisted. This is not the story we know, but that was the story they're telling you on the movie and the TV show. Blasphemy, I guess. But part of me is like, how true is that? Like, I don't think it's based on anything. Part of me wants to, at least be open to other ideas other than my own, right? But I think anything coming from Hollywood is very deceptive, so I don't really buy any of the story. So anyhow, they showed that in the second season, because he didn't know what he was, because he had, when after he was reborn, he was reborn from a spirit into a person. He went basically having sex with Mayfair witches, and then they end up dying, like just after he had sex with them, and they just end up dying. Except for one, when they're showing the spirit has sex, and anyhow give him birth. It's symbolic, I'm pretty sure. But anyhow, giving birth to him. And she was trying to kill him because she thought he was targeting the Mayfair witches. And she wanted to kill him, but she was having doubt. What he's trying to do is not really intentional, what he was doing, because the spirit didn't know, because it was a realization, it reached a realization to figure out itself. You understand? And they're showing a vampire, showing the vampire came in the picture, and he says, "You're a different one." And because he was being followed by dogs and werewolf, and showed in another life that a werewolf bit him to show him his divinity, and when his blood got on grass, the grass starts to grow, the trees start to flourish, and all of that. So that's what they're trying to say. And then they showed, and part of it, sorry guys, I'm going to ruin it for you guys, but I'm trying to bring you to break down the symbolism. Anyhow, he was being, he was taken to Scotland, where they had, they showed this, the great grandfather of the Mayfair, who wanted to come back but he needed his blood. He needed his basically his seed to come in order to, and then one of his sons ended up taking his place, and he came back and to finish what he started. And then he ended up drinking his blood, and so anyhow he was ambushed. He was ambushed and ended up being, killed and stuff. His mother saved him the first time when they cut his throat, and someone threw an axe at him. And anyhow, his mother took his blood and went on and stuff like that. So the symbolism is very satanic kind of stuff, but it talks about and then they showed that because he thought he was people, the Mayfair witches, they thought he was a devil, and they basically he's not the devil, because in the TV, and then sorry, I'm leaving a coffee shop. Anyhow, oh, thank you. Yeah. Right. Yeah, and then what I was saying? Yes. He ended up being ambushed. So through the theory, the mother boyfriend, or after she kind of grew up and whatnot, and he grew very fast, because he has a divinity, like the blood, and it showed that the mother got his power from him. And when he went away and he was out on the run, she became weaker, because her power comes from him. She realized that. So she needed, because, anyhow, it's a long story, but anyhow, so she ended up, realizing that without him, she becoming very weak, and basically all her powers start to kind of disperse and go away and whatnot. And so she needed him. She needed him to keep her power in place and whatnot. And she was invoking fire. She was invoking, she freezing people, turning them literally to stone, sending people into the ghost world. So all these things became possible because of him. And then in the theory, they said when this guy who worked for this, it's like a secret society thing, but it's out of Holland. They had his body in because apparently he was on Earth before that, and he was also killed, and they wanted to know how he was killed. And it turned out he was killed the same way. He was ambushed. But the last time he didn't have any kids. So this time they wanted to make sure he has kids. So jumping from story to another, when the boyfriend took his blood and her blood and went to check it to see if there is any link or whatnot, and he didn't know he was the blood of an animal or a person or something like that, because he has both his mother and him, the 13 witch and him, they both had 4 extra chromosomes, which it's not possible, and they both had the same identical chromosomes. So that's what he said to her. Oh, you know, you have 4 extra chromosomes, and you know, your son has 4 extra chromosomes. You know. But he says, is he your son? And so, you know, she ended up coming out clean, told him, yes, he's my son. And then, so that's 8, between both of them, 8 chromosomes. When he ended up marrying in that series, second series, he ended up marrying this woman. She says to him, well, let's try this again, not like last time. So that means she's also reincarnated, this person. So they end up having kids together. Then they end up having 8 kids. You understand? So you see the symbolism behind it. It's like, you know, if you know how to break, you know, movies and stuff, be able to see what they're trying to tell you. All right? Anyhow, that's what they're trying to tell you, pretty much. They're trying to tell you, like, you had lived this life before, and this is the second, you know, life. Now, I hope this helps breaking out this movie. All right, take care.